Now we'll cover all the different stages of the migration process in some additional details. As I already mentioned, we focus on the rehost strategy and don't review the rest in this solution. Then when we go to the assessment and planning phase, this is where we would like to focus the attention of CSPs because we see it as a big opportunity for capitalization for CSPs, mostly because most of the end customers first lack the expertise or the bandwidth to perform a proper assessment, don't have the experience with the tool set or even don't have the tools, and haven't done it, don't have the experience and the practice of performing successfully such projects. So all this can be easily combined into a service that CSPs can offer and that can benefit in terms of financials. Here is an example of our suggested tool to do that. ARIA Operations for Networks, which offers application discovery, topology mapping, and all this information is very useful for creating a good migration plan that would lead to a successful migration afterwards. How it is actually done. So we usually start with a list of VMs that the customer would like to migrate to the cloud. And based on this list, first application discovery and mapping is done using ARIA Operations for Networks. Then connectivity discovery, again, using ARIA Operations for Networks. And based on the collected information about these applications and their connections, dependencies, etc., technical migration plan is created, and we call this the application inventory. But the assessment is not just the technical part. Yeah, we have covered most of it. Then we have the hardware and resource requirement that are also important, and monitoring, backup, PR, etc., security, of course. So all this is part of the technical information that needs to be collected. But together with the technical, we have also a lot of non-technical pieces of information that are important. The migration scope. After we see all the dependencies, all the applications, it can turn out that more than the initially planned applications should be migrated to the cloud because of these dependencies. Then we have the compliance, data regulations, cost evaluation, and licensing, etc. So there are also a lot of non-technical things to cover before starting the migration process. And all this is part of the assessment. And when we mentioned that most customers don't have the experience and the expertise, this is why we said it, because it's not just one or two things, but it's quite a complex process to perform the whole assessment process. Then just an example, very high level on different scenarios for the assessment that are currently possible with ARIA Operations for Networks. First is deploying ARIA Operations for Networks in the source data center. This has one important note to be made about, and it is ARIA Operations for Networks can only be used in the source data center with evaluation license, which is 6 days at the moment. So it cannot be licensed, and you're limited to 60 days to perform the full assessment. But after it is done, the information can be used and the migration can be completed. The second option is to deploy area operations for networks in the destination site. Here, the important thing is it needs to connect to the source vCenter and NSX if it is there. So this means the customer should provide connectivity to these appliances to area operations for networks, which means they need to expose some part of their infrastructure to the CSP. But on the positive side, it can be licensed as part of VCF, and post migration, it can continue be used for monitoring purposes, for verifying that the same flows and dependencies are kept after the migration between the appliances. So it can be further utilized as a tool. So CSPs can pick which scenario matches their case and can follow that. Then the preparation, as I stated earlier, this is the building the infrastructure and the networking, the firewalls, etc. Then picking the right migration tool according to the deployment model, according to the migration cases and the appliance criticality, and preparing the on-prem side, because both HCX and Cloud Director availability require to deploy an on-prem appliance at the source data center. Again, a very high level deployment view of the host private cloud. First, HCX deployment. Here, we need to place an HCX appliance set to each workload domain that would be used as a destination, but it's the typical HCX deployment, nothing additional, and it doesn't require any multi-tenancy for that. Then we have the managed private cloud, where we use Cloud Director availability. Now here, there are several options. The most important thing to know is that the replicators should be placed within the workload domain, and depending on how the workload domains are deployed, whether they're in the same or different availability zones, the rest of the Cloud Director availability appliances can be either in the management domain or also in the workload domain. It's important to say that they should be outside of the Org VDC resource pools, so the appliances won't be visible to tenants within Cloud Director. And same for public cloud. Again, replicators should be within the workload domain, even if they are shared between multiple customers, they won't be able to access each other's resources because of the Cloud Director availability utilization of the Cloud Director tenancy system. So all this is covered, and there shouldn't be any worries about security and the issues between the different tenants. Regarding the rest of the Cloud Director availability appliances, again, same thing as the hosted private, as the managed private cloud. Depending on the deployment, they can be in the workload domain or in the management domain under the respective workload domain. A few words about the tools during the actual migration. So we have HCX that is suitable for small and also for large-scale migrations, and it provides plenty of options, plenty of scenarios covered by the tool. It also has additional features that complement the migration. We have a slide on that a little later. Also, Cloud Director availability. I mentioned the important thing. It supports the Cloud Director multi-tenancy and org structure. So it is natively multi-tenant, and the different users can utilize the same Cloud Director availability instance without interfering with each other. And some of the additional features that both products offer that would make the migration smoother and can help in some more special use cases. We have the migration plan offered by Cloud Director Availability, which gives the uh, tenant or the CSP, depending on who is performing the migration, the ability to order the workloads that will be migrated and to add in steps and to add waiting times or manual checks between these steps. So these plans can be properly executed and verified. And also, there is an option to test in the migration plan, as well as any individual migration that is configured. Also, we have the network extension offered by both by HCX and by Cloud Director Availability. For HCX, it's part of the product. Once enabled, there is an additional plans deployed automatically by HCX. And for Cloud Director Availability, it is done using the NSX Autonomous Edge that is required at the source site, and then it's easily and automatically configured through the UI of Cloud Director Availability, and the network extension is established. The OS assisted migration that enables HCX to migrate non VMware workloads, the one optimization for improving the bandwidth and the performance of the migration, and additional migration options offered by Cloud Director Availability for moving the app templates from one Cloud Director catalog to another, even to another instance of Cloud Director, and the one-click migration that is very useful for customers who have no experience and who are going to perform the migration as a self-service. A few words about the most common migration types and their suitability. So live, hot, or vMotion migration offered by HCX is very suitable for mission-critical workloads that require zero downtime while being migrated. Then warm and bulk, different terminology for pretty much the same thing. This migration type is suitable for business-critical workloads, and cold as it involves huge downtime as the VM is powered off before starting the migration. This is suitable for non-critical or even development test workload to be migrated. And a few examples about potential post-migration services that can be offered. So, of course, we have the networking solution covering the network that the migrated VMs will be utilizing at the cloud, security for applying firewall, distributed firewall, for example, cloud monitoring for monitoring and optimization of these workloads, and data protection that would allow these to be protected to another CSP-owned cloud, and to make sure they can be powered on in case of a disaster. And a very high level view on the monetization and which parts of this whole process that we already covered can be monetized. We have the assessment as the pre-migration, then selecting the right tool, and the feature set of this tool can also be included in different monetization offerings, and the general execution, self-service versus managed service, warm code migration, etc. So all these are different options for creating several migration offerings that would match the requirements of different customers by their size, by their vertical, etc.